Saturday morning was supposed to be simple. I planned to grab my fishing gear, lock the house, and spend the entire day at my favorite spot on the lake. But as I walked toward my garage, something immediately felt wrong. Instead of finding my garage empty, I saw several unfamiliar luxury vehicles parked inside. A handwritten paper sign near the entrance read, "Community Overflow Parking." I had never agreed to anything like that. A neighbor walking by explained that the HOA had announced the garage could be used during a neighborhood event. I calmly replied that no one had ever asked for permission, and the garage was part of my private home. A few minutes later, Linda Harper arrived with several HOA board members. She insisted the garage had been listed as overflow parking in an event newsletter. I politely explained that a newsletter could not change private property ownership or grant access without permission. Since I had already planned to leave for the lake, I closed the garage door using my keypad once everyone had stepped outside. The garage remained secure, just as it always had, while I headed out for the day with my fishing gear. As I drove toward the lake, I received a phone call from Linda. She asked if I could return and open the garage because several residents wanted to retrieve their vehicles. I calmly explained that I was away for the day and would be back later that evening. Linda insisted that the neighborhood event was still underway and several attendees were waiting. I replied that my garage was never designated as public parking and that any access would have required my permission beforehand. After ending the call, I enjoyed a quiet afternoon fishing along the shoreline. The peaceful surroundings reminded me why I had planned the trip in the first place, and I appreciated the chance to relax before returning home. When I arrived home that evening, a sheriff's deputy was speaking with Linda and several HOA board members near my driveway. The deputy greeted me courteously and asked if we could review what had happened. I showed the deputy the property's deed, garage construction permit, and keypad security registration. After reviewing the documents, he confirmed that the garage was part of my private residence and that access to it was entirely my decision. Everyone thanked one another for remaining cooperative, and the situation was resolved professionally. The deputy suggested that everyone review the event planning process before future neighborhood gatherings. Clear communication and written permission, he explained, could prevent misunderstandings like this from happening again. Everyone agreed it was a reasonable approach. The following morning, I checked the garage to make sure everything was exactly as I had left it. Every vehicle owner had retrieved their car, and the space was once again clean, organized, and ready for my own projects. A few neighbors stopped by later that day to apologize for assuming the garage was available to everyone. I appreciated their honesty, and we had a friendly conversation about respecting private property and communicating clearly. That afternoon, I installed a professionally made sign beside the garage entrance stating that the building was private residential property. The sign also included contact information in case anyone ever had questions about access. As the evening settled over the waterfront, I packed my fishing gear back into the truck and looked across the quiet neighborhood. A simple reminder about respecting private property had helped everyone move forward on better terms. A week later, the HOA announced updated event guidelines requiring written permission before using any privately owned driveway, garage, or parking space. Several neighbors thanked me for encouraging a clearer process that respected everyone's property. One neighbor mentioned they had assumed every oversized garage in the community was shared during neighborhood events. We discussed the importance of checking with homeowners first instead of relying on assumptions. Later that afternoon, I upgraded the garage security system by enabling additional activity notifications through the mobile app. It gave me peace of mind whenever I was away from home, enjoying the lake, or traveling. Before leaving for another fishing trip, I tested the keypad, cameras, and automatic garage door one final time. Everything worked exactly as expected, allowing me to head out with confidence. With everything secured, I drove toward the lake just as the sun climbed over the mountains. Looking back at the peaceful neighborhood, I smiled, knowing that clear communication and respect for private property had made the community stronger for everyone. A few days later, the HOA invited homeowners to a community meeting about future neighborhood events. I attended and suggested a simple online reservation system for shared amenities, while making it clear that privately owned garages and driveways should always require the homeowner's written approval. The proposal received positive feedback from many homeowners. They appreciated having a clear process that respected both community activities and private property rights, making future neighborhood events easier to organize. After the meeting, several neighbors gathered outside to thank me for helping improve communication in the community. We chatted about upcoming fishing trips, neighborhood barbecues, and future events planned with better organization. Back at home, I organized my garage exactly the way I liked it. Every tool, fishing rod, and storage cabinet had its place, reminding me why protecting private space is so important for homeowners. That evening, I closed the garage, picked up my fishing gear, and walked toward the dock behind my home. Watching the sun set across the lake, I reflected on how simple conversations and mutual respect had helped everyone move forward together. The following weekend, I hosted a small garage organization day for a few neighbors who had asked for storage ideas. We spent the morning discussing shelving, tool organization, and safe parking layouts while enjoying coffee by the lake. One neighbor asked how I kept the garage so secure while traveling. I explained the smart keypad system, motion sensors, and camera alerts to help me monitor the property from anywhere without disrupting my routine. Inspired by the discussion, several homeowners decided to upgrade their own garages with better lighting, storage systems, and security features.